What's really unique about Bell is if you look at their history in the airborne public safety space, you have to go back more than 70 years. And, Bell not only developed and fielded the world's first police helicopter and the world's first fire helicopter, we're still partnered with those same agencies today.
Going back to your career with the Marine Corps, and again, looking back and your perspective on things, as far as the missions that you were part of, can you think of a mission that you really enjoyed being part of, whether it was funny or just really cool?
Again, I was really lucky to serve with some fantastic people. And so it's hard to pick out, a specific one. Some of the funniest missions, we used to, we go to the Chocolate Mountain aerial gunnery range a lot. So, if you keep going east from the Salton Sea, there's a big restricted area there, the 2507 north and south. And that's LARPing central, we just go out there and make believe all day that there's, I don't know how many times we've killed imaginary bad guys out there, but they continue to come back. So some of the funniest missions are really your peacetime training missions. The funny thing is we often don't have enough friendly forces that are working in an objective area. So you make people up a lot. And that's known as white hatting. And there's, a sufficient number of schizophrenic pilots out there that really just bring in alter egos when they do this. And it's comical to watch. But, when you say funniest, I don't know why this resonated or came to my mind, but we were doing an urban exercise and I was working the sensor, and one of the role players got into this piece of kind of like sewage conduit, and it was on the ground, and he got in and just started rolling in it. And so he's rolling away in this pipe, and I called down to the JTAC. I was like, hey, on the southeast corner, building 501, you have an individual rolling himself to the south. And he was like, did you say somebody's rolling themselves to the south? And I was like, yeah, they're in the tube now, rolling themselves to the south. And I'm like, okay, well, let me know if that develops. And I was like, will do. Yeah. So I don't know. It doesn't sound that interesting. I just, that's the first thing that came to mind. But, we had great experiences. One deployment, I was in Djibouti, Africa, and that's a whole nother just experience. You can fly basically as low and aggressive as you'd like out in there. And, we thought we were tearing it up, and we flew with French helicopters out there that, those guys have no boundaries. So that was really fantastic. I mean, we've done workups with a lot of different agencies and interoperability stuff. So I think it's hard to really narrow it down.
I think it's hard for all of us to, pick one or two things that we've done that are the best. It's so fun over the course of your career, and they all blend together. I think you kind of merge the few of them together, and it's like the super incident that you worked one time, and no, that was a part of 3 different things. Yeah, but yeah, it's a blast, but it really is hard to figure out. Jeff, I'm going to put you on the spot. Anything that comes to mind for you as far as?
I'm trying to think of, well, you see a lot of funny stuff in the helicopter, John, I'm sure can attest, you're on the FLIR and guys are doing a search, and, some cop tries to go over a wall and falls on his ass, and, and you're like, you want to radio down and be like, hey, you all right down there? But, you don't want to burn it either, but, just funny stuff like that. That's one thing I think in this line of work that, it's almost a stress reliever to have, the funny stuff. I mean, in Iraq, we flew pretty much all nights over there, and, our guys, I mean, it's a lot of times it's just sheer boredom. You're flying around. There's nothing going on. It's, middle of the winter and it's cold. And so we just come up with games to I'm not going to repeat them here because it's not for a family show, but, you know, just like come up with like, you know, one of the pilots would be like, hey, so you have to kill someone. You have to have, you know, yeah, one of those kind of things. Yeah. You know, marry one, kill one, and you know what I'm going. But, you know, just stuff like that, just to break the monotony sometimes and stuff. And it's just, those are like those memories that you think back on and go, man, you know, our tower there would always ask us to do a flyby middle of the night. You know, they'd want us to do a formation flyby of the tower. Every time we do it, they'd be like, you know, the Apaches were better, and you know, that kind of stuff. And you're like, damn it, you know, we'd always like, damn it. And so then finally, like, you know, our last day leaving, going back to Kuwait, I think we had like 14, 15 aircraft in formation, and we did this, you know, loop kind of around Camp Spiker, and then all, you know, all the aircraft, we all tightened up and then did this, you know, past the tower. And they were like, all right, long night flight. That was the best flyby ever, you know? And it was like, you know, everybody's like wiping tears from their eyes, because it was like, we finally did it, you know, like we impressed them, you know, but just stuff like that. I mean, you look back on it now, you know, it's been years and years, and those are just some of the best memories of, you know, doing cool stuff with your friends and having a good time, you know? Yeah. So that's what I love about this line of work, the jobs that we're in, you know, first responders and military is, you just, it's some of the best people you ever meet in your life, and you get to, you know, do some really cool stuff and intense stuff, and it just brings you together like no other friendships ever.
Yeah, you're right.
It's 100% true. And you know, the funny thing is, I look back, or sometimes I'll talk to my wife, you know, about some of the stories. She's like, it's not that funny. And I was like, you had to be there.
Right. Yeah.
You know, we,
yeah. My wife's like, God, you guys are so stupid. Like, yeah.
But, you know, right at Songs, the nuclear power plant, there's a fairly famous nude beach down there called Black's Beach. And it is not an uncommon trick to take the new guy out and have him do sensor work on Black's Beach. And, you know,
So,
you'd be like, hey, man, I've got PID target 2:00 low. Go ahead and slew the sensor. And they're like, okay. And you get the, and you're like, you were a day camera, weren't you? Yeah. You should have been in FLIR.
Yeah.
So
that's a naked man riding a bicycle. Yeah.
Better than playing tennis.